Hello and welcome to second episode of Decoding IELTS Band 7. I'm Gagandeep Kaur, founder and head mentor of IELTS 7, and I'm making this series to help my students and other IELTS aspirants understand why they're failing at getting the desired Band 7 in writing and to help them avoid these mistakes and get their desired results. Well, in the last episode, I explained the maths of Band 7. How is the band for task 1, task 2 calculated? How is the overall score calculated? What is it that your examiner is looking for? Now, today we are going to discuss what are the common mistakes that students make. So, let's start. Well, as I discussed last time that there are 4 band descriptors. For task 1, it's task achievement, cohesion, coherence, lexical resources, grammar, range and accuracy. For task 2, it's task response. Other 3 remain the same. Cohesion, coherence, lexical resources, grammar, range and accuracy. So let's start by understanding common mistake of each marking criteria. So for task 1, you are required to get good bands in task achievement. Now, how do you do that? If you are an academic student and you have to write a report, it could be in tabular form. You could be getting some charts, pie charts, diagrams, or charts, and you have to explain the data given in that chart to your examiner. But what is the most common mistake? What most students forget to write is an overview. What is an overview? Overview is basically the most striking feature that you have to write before you start explaining the numbers. This is going to be your guiding map. How you're going to proceed with task 1. What are the things that you really want to explain? So when you look at any diagram or chart, look at what are the highest and lowest, what are the most striking features that you can explain. Write about them. And then based on it, start writing your report. Complete it. Similarly, if you're doing task 1, journal, make sure that when you look at the question, you do all the 3 parts of the question, 3 or 4, whatever the question parts are given to you. And also make sure that there is a clarity of purpose in your first paragraph. So the examiner knows, okay, you understand whether you're writing a apology letter, you're writing a thanks letter, you're writing a recommendation letter. You understand, and that understanding should be made with the examiner in the very first paragraph. Now let's come to task 2, which is task response. One of the most common mistakes that I've seen where students make here is not giving time to analyze the question, and they misunderstand the questions. Most of the students I have seen, either they will confuse it with 2 question types, or they would generalize the statement and not be specific to the topic, or there would be unclear explanations or examples. All these things can lead to low scores in task 2. For task response, also make sure that if it is 150 words, ask for task 1 and 250 words for task 2, you are writing to the word limit. You can write more than 250 words and 150 words, but don't write less than that, as there's going to be penalty for the same. Now let's move on to cohesion and coherence. Your examiner is looking for a well-structured letter, report, or an essay. So give it to them. What does coherence means? That your paragraphs are well linked. If you are adding on some points, you are using correct cohesive devices to link your paragraphs. If you're contrasting your own opinion or you're giving a contrasting viewpoint, you're using correct cohesive devices. So coherence and cohesion simply means using correct cohesive devices and giving a good structure to your letter and essay. Now, what are the common mistakes that students make here? The first common mistake is your first paragraph is unclear. Why I'm emphasizing on first paragraph again and again? Well, see, as we say, The first impression is the last impression. When your examiner looks at the first paragraph, he gets the clarity. Okay, the student understands the task. He knows what he's supposed to do. He's answering to all part of the questions and is giving me a lead through that what is going to come in next. So if you are putting all those things there in that first paragraph, you have higher chances of getting good bands. Also, most of the students know that they are being given marks for cohesive devices, so they either overuse it and the students or underuse it. Like, who are the students who underuse it? Underuse is done by the students who are not aware that cohesive devices are important, and overuse is done by the students who know that they've been marked for it. There needs to be a balance. Sometimes just in your quest to impress the examiner, you add too many things that make it too complex to read and it becomes grammatically incorrect. So avoid that mistake. Don't do that. Right. Also, putting in too many ideas in one paragraph. Let's say there's a misconception among students that if I'm writing 4 points, 5 points, I'll be getting high scores. Doesn't work that way. Have one or maximum two main ideas in one paragraph. Explain them, expand them. Don't put in 3 or 4 ideas in one paragraph. You're not writing a bullet point essay. You need to explain each point. So don't do that. Don't put in too many ideas at one place. My favorite lexical resources. I think this is the most highly misunderstood of all the band descriptors and marking criteria. As I see many trainers giving some A-list words, golden words to their students, and they start mugging it up. Maybe it works for a few students, but coming from a communication background and being a mentor, I know that just mugging a few words or lists can't help you get higher bands unless or until you know actually where to use those words and use those words in correct context, write the correct spellings and tenses. So don't just mug up words, focus on improving your vocabulary overall. How do you do that? Read more things. Not only IELTS, don't read IELTS all day. You can read novels, you can read newspapers. There are many things. Read things that interest you. From me, I think this is a blessing that as my grandfather used to gift me a lot of books as a kid, and that has helped me improve my vocabulary and grammar since childhood. So this is something that I always tell my students also. If you want to pick up new vocabularies, we have a lot of quizzes in the class. We make it it is kind of contest. We compete with each other, but in interesting way. I never give my students a list of what's to mark up. So don't do that. Focus on knowing what is going to come in exam. We know that what are the topics that come in exam. You could be asked to write about education. They could be topics on society, art. There could be topics on law. There are many different various topics when we will be working with us. We'll be talking about more in detail. So know what are the topics when it come, read about them and learn the vocabulary. That is going to help you improve your lexical resources. Okay, now the last is grammatical range and accuracy. I believe this is where most of the students get stuck, as these are very fine points, but most of the students miss out on them. The first is correct spellings. Most of my students say, how does it make difference? Like if I just forgot to write an S, if it is a plural word, you need to write the correct spellings. You're going to miss out if you're making a lot of spelling mistakes, you're making tenses error, or you are making subject verb agreement errors where it's like that is singular and plural. So preposition, articles, apostrophes, these are all counted as mistakes, grammar mistakes in IELTS. So make sure to avoid this. Now, if you want to learn how to avoid these mistakes, how to get higher bands, and see how our students are getting band 7 and above in their writing, I invite you to join our 2-day free workshop that we'll be doing next weekend. I'm giving the link and you can just register for it or DM us to get, and we'll be looking forward to help you.